Hey, Charlesy.
Hey, mate.
Thanks for jumping in, mate.
Pleasure, brother. Pleasure.
Mate, we've got 16 of the best up and coming and current agents in the country. Um, I'm going to jump. Charles needs no introduction. So I'll give you a quick. Me and Charles have been friends and worked with each other for over 20 years. He's, in my opinion, one of the best tele prospectors I've ever worked with. And that's including him, Maclay, Will Phillips would be the three best tele prospectors I've ever worked with. Charles worked at Brescic Whitney. He's worked at one or two, but more importantly, he's got Touma Group in Redfern, which in the last 2 years has tripled in size. So he's got 20 agents on his. Not only is he a great agent and an award-winning agent, but he's got 20 agents in their team with some big riders, and he's now got a rent roll of I don't know how many, 1,500, Charles.
Just under, I think just over 1,000 knives.
So big office, two locations, and some really good riders. Renee Cross, Roger Wardy, Hayden, who's in one of my other groups, works with him. Some
Max,
really good people. Maxi,
Max
some
has done
really
really well. Yeah, so it's good.
mate. Just a quick one. I know we've only got you for 20 minutes. So how are you finding this year's market, Charles?
Moderate. I tell people pretty straight up. I said it's not the hottest market I've ever seen. It's not the coldest market I've ever seen. It's quite balanced and calculated. But I think it's not. It's one of those markets where pricing, presentation, and strategy need to be aligned. If you get one wrong, you will
Yeah,
find yourself in a scramble. So when the
yeah,
market's overheated, you could probably sort of, your marketing may not be right, your presentation may not be right, but you'll somehow find a way to get it sold. I think at the
yeah,
moment, mate, more importantly, we're putting more emphasis on, presenting them right, marketing them right, but making sure the pricing strategy is right within reason.
yeah,
And then the key ingredient in this market is buyers.
yeah,
So that's just the key ingredient, regardless of a market. But when the market's hot,
yeah,
it's easy. But now the key ingredient is just plain and simple buyer work.
yeah. Zach, can you ask your question, please, mate? Your challenge. That's a perfect one for Charles.
Yeah, in the listing
Mate,
presentation,
sorry. If I do ask you to, there'll be three or four or five of you that I'm going to ask to put forward a question. Just say your name and where you work so Charles knows.
sorry, hey Charles, I'm Zach. I'm up on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Mate, biggest I guess challenge at the moment is going into the listing presentation. It's almost yours to take, but other agents have over pitched it. Sellers' expectations are too high, and they're basically just picking an agent based on an appraisal limit number value.
All right.
Just curious to see how you get around it.
So one thing I'd probably be doing is spending more time in the pre listing phone call. So I always try and take. So what I always think about in a listing presentation is, I said this to Ivan the other day. We're all going in and we're all sort of saying very very similar things. And what I try and understand is, besides getting the best possible price, one question I ask my vendors is, have you had any past experiences with agents, good or bad, that have now shaped what you're looking for in representing you? Besides getting the best possible price, what else is important to you? Are you going to make a decision on an agent based upon someone telling you the highest price, or are what else is really important? But for me, they're the main things that I'm trying to understand, because every single client is different. Every agent's walking in saying, I can get you the best possible price. So it is a little bit mundane around, just sort of saying that. I try and say, besides the best possible price, what past experiences have you had, good or bad, with agents that have now shaped what you're actually looking for in representation this time around? Have you sold before? What worked well? What would you do differently? And what are the key factors that are going to influence your decision? So I think asking questions, because I want a listing the other week by that one question. Um, Tell me, have you sold before? Yes. What worked well? What would you change differently? The agent didn't communicate. So all I focused on was how I was going to communicate, right? And it was a toss of the coin between me and another agent who I compete very seriously with. But all it was that his past experience, the agent never called him after opens, no vendor reports. He was always following up. So the better questions you ask in a pre-listing environment, or even when you're there, and then you actually say to them, like, what's most important besides getting this at the best possible price? What past experiences have shaped what you're looking for in agent representation this time? What are the key factors that are going to influence your decision? Are you going to just choose the agent that tells you the highest price and offers you the lowest fee? Right.
Good
So
one.
I think you got to really sort of understand that the listing presentation is seriously a fashion parade, and agents will go in and say whatever they can, and I think you sometimes got to try and find out underneath, because I believe this: people don't buy what you do or how you do it. They buy what you believe. So if you can find out what they believe, right, in terms of what they want, then you can actually pitch what they believe. They don't buy what you do and how you do it. They buy what you believe. So you got to find out from them, what do they actually believe? Do they believe there's a difference between agents? If they all think all real estate agents are the same, well, then literally it's a race to the bottom on fees and telling them the highest price. So you actually got to really figure out, in terms of what that person's past experience, what they believe, and they'll buy what they believe, if that makes sense.
Does that help, Zach?
Yeah, that's like, yeah, exactly that. Just not asking the right questions up front.
Yeah,
So
what
that's
I'm noticing here. Sorry, Charles, you go.
Pre-listing, like I've got a sheet here, like literally, if you call me up, right, to list your house, right, I've got a 2-page form that I'm filling out before I come and meet with you. Literally, from like everything about, most of my business comes from referral, situation, where you're moving to, what's motivating you to move now, what's been holding you back, what improvements have you sold before, what was good, what was bad. When you're looking at buying, did you have a good experience with me? Do you feel the need to speak to other agents, or if we can agree on a fair fee for service? What are the key factors that will influence your decision? Do you have relationships with other agents? Have you been watching the market? Any comparables? If there was a serious buyer now willing to pay a premium, would you consider moving a little bit sooner than expected and selling off market? When are you thinking of making a decision? So like John McGrath told Ivan and Ivan told me, listing is 30% before you get there. Probably what lies 40% there, 30% of what you do after.
30, 40, 30. 30
Yeah,
before you get to the house, 40 in the house,
30
30 after.
after.
What I'm noticing here, Zach, and everyone, is soon Charles just went, it's all about the questions. He's just digging deep with these sellers. But now I'm going to go one step further and go to George, who's got a similar question as Zach. George will say, George?
So my question was,
Sorry, introduce yourself, mate.
oh sorry, hey Charles, I'm George. I'm from Cobden, Hastings, Lane Cove. I know Roger quite well, who works in your office. But so my question was securing listings when you're in the door and you've pitched and you're up against some really strong agents, and you're just trying to clinch it to get it across the line.
So same question as Zach,
Yeah.
but now you're up against like a Brescic when you're a Maclay.
Yeah.
Well, it's
So
like
how,
Seven Rainford, right? Like, that we went through. So are you asking me a question? What is a hack that you can do to just try and clinch the listing?
Yes.
Right.
no, I guess the question is, what do you do if you come up against an agent who's got really strong market share? Because
Yeah.
you're not, they're not Charles Touma who's
Yeah,
got number
no, fair
one.
point. Okay, so I think this is going to have to take me back. This will have to take me back to when I didn't have market share.
Yes.
And then when I was coming up against